Hi, this is Steve Darcey. I'm with GoEngineer, and today I ran across an issue that a customer was having with PDM Professional, and they have the main manufacturing is done here in Austin, Texas, and then I'm just going to pick something. I'm going to pick Tyler, Texas. They have another plant in Tyler, and I've changed the names to protect the innocent. But the Tyler plant is a lot smaller, but they do have a couple different parts that are made in Tyler. So in PDM, they want to dictate whether or not they're made in Austin or Tyler, and they want to notify the people in manufacturing in Tyler rather than all the people that are in Austin. So let's see how we can do this. So I have the default kind of workflow, pretty close to straight out of the box. I have just one approval state here, and then after I approve it, then the approver, this needs to notify one company or another. So the first thing I need to do is put a bunch of users in a group for the notification that I want to notify. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new group real quick. We'll call that Tyler. And we'll add some group members. So we'll pick a couple people. Looks good. And we'll say OK. And of course, there may be some permissions and things I want to set up, but that's not the basis of what I want to do here. So the main thing is everything that goes through approval, I don't want it to notify. I maybe already have some set up for the approval process to notify people here in the Austin, Texas area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this guy. So I'm just going to select it. You can right click and do a copy, or you can do Control-C, and then click out in the middle of nowhere, do a paste. And then you need to select the source state. So I'm going to pick pending approval, and then released as the destination. And now I have a duplicate of that approval state. So a couple different things I may want to do. Before I do this approval, I need to check the file. And for right now, we'll go ahead and say approve Tyler, just so we can see the difference between one is the regular approval and one is the approval for Tyler, Texas. So I have two different options that I can do. One is when the file goes through here, I can have the transitions decide on a condition on whether or not it meets a condition or not, and whether it needs to go through this transition or the other transition. The other thing I could do is I can have this name something different, like approve Tyler, and then if I decide to transition it through here, I can actually write something to the card. But first, let's take a look at the card and see what we need to do. Now on this one, I'm going to do it for parts, for the part card. So I'm going to go under my file cards, and we'll go SOLIDWORKS part. Just double click on that. And say for instance, it is going to be built, but when it's going to be built, I need to decide whether or not it's going to be built in Tyler or not. So let's go ahead and move this guy over to the side. And I'm just going to add a little checkbox here. And I'm going to say manufactured in Tyler. Okay, then I need a variable. So let's go ahead and make one. And it's going to be a yes or no. And then I also want this same thing to be, of course, written to an attribute in the SOLIDWORKS part file. So we're going to go get a custom property. I'm just going to paste that same attribute name, and it's going to be for SLDPRT. All right, so that looks good. Now we can select that variable. And we'll go ahead and save that card. All right, so let's take a look in our vault. I've got a control box vault. And let's just go into projects, and let's make a new file, SOLIDWORKS part file. And notice that I have the manufacturing in Tyler there. So if I go ahead and check it, make sure I'm on the regular tab, and we'll go ahead and tell it to create the file. So it's going to create that. I have that done with a template, so you guys with standard, PDM standard, won't be able to do that part, but this is just a regular SOLIDWORKS part file. Let's go ahead and open it up into SOLIDWORKS, and we're going to check that on the data card and make sure that that property is actually pushing through to the right direction. All right, so the file's open. Let's take a look at the file properties on custom. Notice it has the SW part Tyler, so that's good. It's a 1. And we can also double check that just to make sure that it works. Let's pick on that. And on the data card, we're going to uncheck it and save it back to the file and the database there. And then if we open that guy back up, take a look at his property now, and it's set to 0. So the 1 and 0 is triggering. It's working correctly. And so 1, if it's on, if it's checked, and unchecked would be no or off. Okay, so that's good. Everything's good with that. Of course, I should model up a part and everything, but for this is for PDM, not for SOLIDWORKS modeling. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Let's say, for instance, it's manufactured. And let's go ahead and check it in. So we're all good there. It needs to be moved over to the next workflow state. So we're going to change state, submit for approval. There we go. And then the last thing I need to do here is I need to tell it whether or not it's going to work through approval for Tyler or approval here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check for that. So I'm going to go to conditions, and I'm going to say that my SW Tyler has to go through here if it equals yes, if it's a checkbox on there. Okay, but then I haven't done anything for this guy. I need to make sure that this one, condition, whoops, got to pick the right one. SOLIDWORKS title. Since it's yes or no, then this is going to equal no. It's got to be on or off. So then that way it knows not to go through here and to go through here. So we can kind of check this out too. So let's go switch back over to our little part in the vault. And if I right click on it and we'll go to change state, notice it does have all of those options that I have available. But if I hit approve, then notice that it says, it gives me a warning, conditions for transition were not met. And I can't check the box, I can't change the state. If I hit OK, it doesn't do anything, it keeps it in the pending approval state. So I can't really keep the change state from happening. If I do approve for Tyler, then of course there's no warnings, it'll change the state and it'll go ahead and push on through. So in this case, they didn't really want to do that. What they decided to do was that was too much work to have to actually check the box. If they're going to have to decide it anyway, then they're going to go ahead and decide it on the workflow. So let's kind of see how they actually met this thing. So instead of actually doing the conditions on this, I'll go ahead and just delete this guy. And we're going to delete it on this one as well. Conditions. So what this allows it to do is the part can actually be pushed through either one. But then what happens is through the approval, nothing happens and no checkbox occurs. On the approve for Tyler, what we're going to do is we're going to add an action in here. And we're going to set a variable. Set variable to manufacturer and Tyler. And we're going to say set variable. We're going to come down and pick on this guy. And it could be yes or no, 1 or 0, however you want to do it. So what I'm doing is I'm setting this thing for the value to be 1. So it's going to be checked. And so let's see how that works real quick. Let's go ahead and say OK. Go ahead and save that out. So initially in the pending approval, now I have something a little bit different. Usually the pending approval and release state, these should be set into read only, but I have some power permissions here. So on this guy, what I'm going to do is let's check him out real quick. And I want to make sure that he is not manufactured in Tyler. So we're going to save that. There we go. And we'll check him in. So then what happens is on the release state, whoever's doing the approval process here, they can decide whether it goes to approved or approved to Tyler. So let's see how that happens. So we're going to change state, approved to Tyler. And of course, when it does that, they can notify specific people. We can have the notification, since it's in a different transition, to automatically notify people that's in that. Actually, let's go ahead and do that real quick since I forgot. So on the notifications, we don't want all these things. We really just want automatic notifications for maybe a couple specific people. So let's go to our, notice there's Tyler, Texas there. Let's go and add that. And maybe I want everybody to be selected there. So that way we could pick on who we want, but we may want specific people in that to be automatically notified. Say for instance, Jeremy needs to always, he's the manager or something over there, so he needs to always be notified. I'm not going to allow him to do a dynamic selection. I always want it to notify him, so I'm going to leave that unchecked. So we'll go ahead and say OK. That looks good. And then of course we save this, make sure you hit the little disk up there, and then now everything should work as it goes through. So I don't have to decide whether or not this is going to be manufactured on the data card. When I change the state and approve it to Tyler, Texas, so you notice we've got everybody that I can check Matt if I need to. I'll go ahead and say OK. And then notice that the checkbox is automatically checked now because the workflow is actually pushing that to manufacturer in Tyler, Texas. So 2 different ways to complete this workflow. The customer actually decided to do this one where it actually notifies them and puts the little checkbox on there. So now if they do a search, then they could actually search for all the parts that are manufactured in Tyler, Texas. So hope this helps you guys. Enjoy the day. Thanks a lot. Bye.